Sports are unique in their ability to bring people together in a way that almost no other form of entertainment can, and certainly not to that same level that a sporting event is able to. The unity, camaraderie, and togetherness that comes with it, whether it's being in the arena rooting for the same team with 16,000 people, or watching from home but knowing that there are millions watching alongside you who, no matter what they have been through, are united in a love for the game that they feel can speak to them. Whether they played in the past, whether they've coached in the past, whether they have friends that played, or it's ingrained in the family, whatever it might be, sports bring us together like no other. Welcome back to State v Association. I'm your host, Nash Roberts, and today we're talking about the beauty of professional sports. To start off, we really have to define what a professional sport is designed to do, as I touched on in the intro, because ultimately these professional athletes, they make a lot of money. And to a lot of the general public, that can turn some people off a little bit, because at the end of the day, it's the idea that they're being paid all of this money to just play a game, right? But this game means a lot to so many people, and it is a very large source of entertainment for people, not just around the country, but around the globe. Here in the United States, there's, of course, the majors in football and basketball. Those are the two primary sports here. And then outside of that, over worldwide, the biggest sport in the world is soccer. And you've even got other ones up there like cricket that billions of people are really interested in. The World Cup, when it comes around every 4 years, that's a major, major event. Then, of course, there's the Olympics as well. And these events don't get so much publicity if they didn't mean as much to so many people as they did. It's the same thing with the Super Bowl here. Sometimes people like to focus on the commercials for the Super Bowl, and that is because it is a major, major draw, the Super Bowl is. Because the NFL is the biggest league in America, and that determines the winner of the NFL season. And it draws a lot of people in, and advertising costs a lot of money because companies know that a lot of people are going to be tuned in. And that is because this is very much a source of entertainment. Whether you used to play it yourself, whether you coached it, or you've got family members who played, or you just did it back in the days with your buddies and your friends, maybe in high school. Or maybe you weren't even really involved at all, but you have an emotional attachment to it because there might be a team that's from your city or your state that you can root for because of the proximity, and you want to see these people that you're really close to win it all on the biggest stage. And that's how it works as a source of entertainment, which then brings us to our point of unity and togetherness. Now, I touched on how it can entertain an individual, but where sports are at their finest is not in entertaining one singular person, but in uniting a crowd of people. Teams play their games in large arenas or even stadiums when you get to the NFL. In a sold-out NBA game, you might have a packed arena of 18,000 people all cheering for your team. Or in the NFL, that might go to 60,000. And all of these people are sitting together and they're chanting and they're cheering. And they feed each other on. At the end of the day, we all strive to feel like we are appreciated. And so when you see a large group of people cheering, and you're in the audience as well, you're going to feel inclined to do the same, to be a part of something bigger than yourself. And you feed on that, and everyone in the audience does, and all of a sudden you've got 60,000 people being as loud as they can to stop a team from getting a third down conversion because they want to see their home team win. And this home team, they might not know anyone that they're actually friends or family with for the most part. Most people aren't going to experience that. But this home team is supposed to represent them. So when they get louder, that not only unites the fans and the audience, but it unites the team and connects those two in a way that no other entertainment source can. Even if you go to watch a movie in a movie theater with other people, you can feel united with the people around you that you're sharing this movie experience with. But at the end of the day, you're not going to change the outcome of that movie. But when you go to a sporting event, the players out there can hear you as well. And so it creates a bond between you guys, even if you've never met in real life. And you probably never will. And this is especially the case because that home team is representing your city for better or worse on a larger scale. Now, something like a professional American sports league, they will have mascots first and foremost. They'll call a team the Philadelphia Eagles or the Los Angeles Lakers. Make sure to include that team's mascot in there. But what comes first? That city or region or area that they're representing. And this is especially apparent in soccer worldwide, where often teams will just consider themselves to be a football club, and the mascot is a lot more minor. And you can end up with something like FC Barcelona, which ultimately, that largely represents Barcelona, Spain. And it is a football club from there, but first and foremost, it's that region that they're representing. In the Premier League, you've got teams like Manchester United, which with a name like that is to represent the unity of Manchester to this team, from the players to the fans. And ultimately, yeah, you're not going to get to really know these players outside the field, outside the court, but it can be an escape from the real world for just a moment, for 60 minutes in a football game, or 48 in an NBA game, 90 in a soccer game. It can be an escape from the real world, your real life troubles, to just go out here and root for a team and feel like you're a part of something bigger than yourself. Which leads into my last point of that escapism. We've established that we are entertained by these athletes, and we have established that we can feel united by rooting for them. And those are two major things that make up the beauty of professional sports. But what does this camaraderie and what does this entertainment source lead to? And that is ultimately an escape. As humans, we are fundamentally flawed in our nature, and that can often bring us down, whether it's not feeling confident in ourselves or having to deal with financial problems, working a low-end job, and stuff like that can play a role and really affect your psyche. You feel like if you are struggling financially and you aren't making enough money to really live a sustainable lifestyle for yourself, and you're working a job that's really not going anywhere, that can play on you and take a psychological toll, because you feel like that reflects on you as a person and your character, that you can't do something bigger and better for yourself to create a better life. And no matter how you work to improve yourself, whether you find something, a hobby that you enjoy, whether you go to the gym, whether you get into a relationship where you can do kind things for someone else, at the end of the day, individual gratification is not what leads to fulfillment. You can be happy by yourself for sure, by doing things that make you happy and are enjoyable, but humans are social creatures. And as much happiness as we can find in ourselves at times, it can be easy to feel lonely. So when you go to a sports event, when you work up enough money from that low-end job to go to a sporting event, or even a concert if we want to go outside of sports, where you can sing along with people, but focusing on the sporting aspect here, just cheering alongside people, or even watching a game from your couch and knowing that there are people around the entire country watching this game alongside you, you feel like you are a part of something more. Because no matter what you try to do individually, you want to be a part of something ultimately that is ingrained in the minds of people everywhere. And to some, it's a lesser extent. They can be happy on their own. But for a lot of people, they can really find happiness being a part of something with other people. And sports provide a major outlet for that. And for the duration of that game, they can be together with others and find an escape from the real world, from the troubles that they might be having, and have one thing in mind in rooting for their team. And that is the escapism that comes with it. And that escapism in itself is kind of passing, because ultimately that game's going to end, right? Or that season that you root for the team, the season's going to end eventually. But you can also take that escapism and create something Even greater than that, even something that is more sustainable. We talked about, people that might be struggling to create a life for themselves outside of a low-end job, having troubles financially, struggling to find hobbies. Well, you can take initiative in sports yourself to create that better life. And while an escapism is often used as kind of a passing thing to distract yourself from the realities of life, let's use another word here. You are free to create something better for yourself through that sports world. Whether it is just playing with your buddies at the local park, just to have fun and laugh and enjoy your time with them, just finding something to do, but also in the professional world. Because athletes aren't the end-all be-all when it comes to entertainment mediums through sports. Because there were plenty of journalists out there on the biggest stage, whether it's ESPN or one of those major media channels, or whether it's something like here on YouTube or Spotify through a podcast or YouTube content creation, whatever it might be, it is more possible than ever now to create a life for yourself where you are able to work for yourself and create art that you enjoy. And that is possible also through talking about sports, like I'm kind of trying to do here. I want to go into sports journalism. I don't think this in itself, State of the Association, is going to go anywhere. But by the time I'm out of college, I'll have had 6 years of doing this if I'm able to stick through with it. And that's definitely good for a resume, but at the same time, it's also good for just kind of dreaming of something bigger, of wanting to have a voice in the community and create something that's bigger than myself by putting my opinion out there, promoting positive subjects most of the time when so much of media can be so negative nowadays, and creating thoughtful stuff, even if something like the audio quality isn't the best right now because I just don't have the budget for it. At the end of the day, it is an option that a lot of people are going to try to pursue. It's a loaded market, but there's beauty in that even if they're not athletes, people can still make a living for themselves out of sports and creating something that outlives themselves. And there's artistry in it. So through escapism, through freedom, through unity and camaraderie, as well as pure entertainment, there is beauty in sports in every aspect. They bring us together. They provide for so many people. And no matter what you enjoy them for, whether it is your job, whether it is just something to put on in the background, or something you're actively invested in, whether you're actually going to the games and rooting alongside people, or you just do it to get a break from the responsibilities of adult life, there is absolutely beauty in sports, like almost no other entertainment medium. That is all for today's episode of State of the Association. I'm your host, Nash Roberts. Thank you for listening.